More breaking news to get to here on this Sunday, August 24th. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and going into roster cutdown day for all 32 teams across the NFL on Tuesday, we knew that Howie Roseman was going to be very busy, and there was a chance that he could wheel and deal. Obviously, cutting players, monitoring the waiver wire, signing players, but also trading players. This is Howie Roseman's MO, especially in the month of August. But did anybody expect that Howie Roseman was going to make not just one, not just two, but three trades today alone? A hat trick for the two-time Super Bowl winning general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about it here. My name is Chase Sr., and this is why I subscribe to the channel, because we always have you covered. When breaking news goes down, we discuss it in depth and in detail right here on the channel. You might be looking at me right now in the backdrop saying, Chase, where are you? Producer Chip did the video a little bit earlier when the Eagles traded for Sam Howell. I did the YouTube short. Well, I'm in Costa Rica for a few days to do a little bit of a reset before the start of the 2025 NFL season, but we're always talking Eagles here on the show. I've been grinding really since August 1st of last year, given that Eagles Super Bowl run going into a really busy and chaotic offseason. So wanted to take the week here in a few days to just decompress and relax a little bit. But we have 125,000 subscribers, and we have to provide some great content for the people. So that's what I'm doing here. And throughout this week, whenever breaking news happens, obviously I have my setup here, microphone, camera, ring light. We'll be talking about all the Eagles moves here on Eagles Now. Let me also say this. Everybody who sends in a $100 super thanks, I'm going to give away a Philadelphia Eagles Now hat for this Eagles hat trick trade trifecta here today. So if you send in that $100 super thanks, I'm going to send you a Philadelphia Eagles Now hat. All right, trade number one. I did a YouTube short on this. Producer Chip did the long-form video, but the Eagles receiving quarterback Sam Howell and a 2026 sixth-round pick. The Minnesota Vikings receiving a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 seventh-round pick. Worlds colliding here with this move as well, not because Sam Howell used to play for the Commanders and started all 17 games a few years ago when he was coming out of North Carolina, but the Minnesota Vikings yesterday worked out Carson Wentz. They traded Sam Howell today, and they signed Carson Wentz. So a pretty crazy series of moves for Minnesota and for Philadelphia here. And why did the Eagles make this move? Well, I literally put out a video early this morning, right before I got on my flight, talking about this Eagles predicament that they were in at the backup quarterback position, because Tanner McKee, and we found out today, has a broken finger on his throwing hand. During that preseason game the other day, he was on the sideline, and he had his right hand, his throwing hand, in his hoodie the entire time. And he didn't pull his hand out of his hoodie. He was protecting that. And so we had an indication that he was dealing with something. Then Nick Sirianni said after the game on Friday night that McKee is injured and his status for week one against the Dallas Cowboys unknown. Well, I talked about this on the show earlier this morning, that if Tanner McKee cannot play against Dallas on Thursday, September 4th, to kick off the 2025 NFL season opener for the Birds, as they will hoist their second Super Bowl banner right in front of Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia could not go into week one having Kyle McCord as their backup quarterback behind Jalen Hurts. If Hurts were to go down, you can't throw Kyle McCord out there. I like him as a player. I want to see the Eagles continue to develop him, but he is very raw, very green, and he's not ready to play at the NFL level. Stares his receivers down. We saw on Friday night, when he played every single snap in that preseason finale against the Jets, that a lot of the reads were limited to one side of the field. He was telegraphing his passes, making some mistakes. He threw one interception, could have been more. If he went up against a starting caliber defense, it could get really ugly. And so with Tanner McKee hurt, with the questions around Kyle McCord, the Eagles today also waiving Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Philadelphia had to make this trade for Sam Howell. And now he might be the backup to Jalen Hurts week 1 against Dallas if Tanner McKee is not ready to go. If McKee is ready to go, and I think he's the best backup quarterback in the NFL, I think that he can start on a handful of teams, then you have Sam Howell as your number 3. Much better option than Kyle McCord. And this is what Howie Roseman does, and this is the purpose behind a lot of these Howie Roseman moves. He's always looking, obviously, to acquire star-level players. And when you look at this Eagles roster, 1 through 25, it's probably better than any team across the NFL, but he's always looking to stockpile depth. You never know when injuries can happen. You never know what can occur in a sport like football, where nothing is ever promised and things can change so quickly, and you can never have enough quality depth, especially at the quarterback position. This also isn't just a Howie Roseman philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Jeffrey Lurie staple. You think about all of the great backup quarterbacks who the Eagles have invested in, who have had to step in, play well, win games, and win big games for Philadelphia since the turn of the century, right? Coy Detmer, A.J. Feely, Jeff Garcia, Michael Vick, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. And so you get the point here that the Eagles are always willing to invest in the backup quarterback spot. In 2021, they traded for Gardner Minshew, and they gave him some solid coin. I know some people will say, you're forgetting about Jalen Hurts. He was never drafted to be the prototypical backup like those other guys were. You know, the Eagles took him because they had questions about Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson just revealed that information last week to John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia. So Jalen Hurts a little bit different, but the point here being is that the Eagles will always invest in depth, load up on depth to make their roster as good as possible from top to bottom, especially at that quarterback spot. So that's why the Eagles traded for Sam Howell, who back in, 2022, 2023, started all 17 games for Washington. He's been traded a flurry of times over the last couple of years and really over the last calendar year for the most part. He's been with Seattle. He's been with Minnesota. Now with Philadelphia. He was with Washington. No longer with Washington, obviously, because they're moving forward with Jaden Daniels. But I like him as a QB3, and I like him better at QB2 over a guy like Kyle McCord if Tanner McKee cannot go. Trade number 2 for the Eagles. And it is a move with the Jacksonville Jaguars to acquire an old friend. The Eagles receiving Super Bowl champ, backup offensive tackle and swing tackle Fred Johnson. And the Jaguars receive a 2026 7th-round pick. What I also like about these moves for the Eagles, they have a bunch of draft capital in 2026, but they're not surrendering great picks. So they're addressing important depth needs and question marks on this team, and they're probably still not done, and they're not giving up a lot of draft capital. And for Fred Johnson, he's a Florida native. He left the Eagles as a free agent back in March. He signed a 1-year deal with the Jags, and losing him at the time wasn't really ideal because he's a really solid swing tackle who can back up Lane Johnson at right tackle or Jordan Mailata at left tackle. And the Eagles went 5-1 in games started by Fred Johnson last year. Of course, he had some ups and downs, but we're not talking about him as a high-level starter. We're talking about Fred Johnson as a backup swing tackle. And when the Eagles went on the road to play the Cincinnati Bengals, Fred Johnson shut down Trey Hendrickson in that big Eagles win. And the week prior, they edged the Cleveland Browns. That's when Nick Sirianni was kind of having fun and chopping it up with fans on the sideline at the Link. The following week was that Bengals game. And that was a really impressive win for Philadelphia over Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati team with a loaded offense. Their defense was putrid, but that really got the ball moving for the Eagles. And the only game they lost the rest of the way the rest of the year, regular season and playoffs combined, from that Cleveland win after that bad Bucs loss, was the game against the Commanders when Jalen Hurts did not finish. So, backup quarterback in QB3, we can check that box. Addressed by Philadelphia today. They had questions with swing tackle and backup offensive tackle. They bring back Fred Johnson, who they really like, who has played well in this system, who has jived well, getting coached by Jeff Stoutland, best offensive line coach in the NFL. And I also talked about this on the show that came out earlier today and during the postgame show on Friday night. Kendall Lamb was getting bullied by second and third string offensive tackles. Can't happen. And so now I don't think he makes this team. Fred Johnson, of course, will. And more depth moves just coming to mind now, like trading for John Mechie. Then Johnny Wilson got hurt. Trading for Jacorian Bennett. He looks like the top cornerback too, opposite of Quinyon Mitchell on the outside. Smart, savvy moves by the Eagles here. And so Philadelphia tried to find their backup swing tackle. They couldn't. Fred Johnson's going to be that guy. I think Kendall Lamb gets cut. I do think Matt Pryor does make the team because he can play offensive tackle and guard. And along the interior, and just with positional versatility, you do have some worries there, which then brings me to this final trade. The Eagles have traded away offensive tackle Darian Kinnard, who they gave an opportunity to win that backup swing tackle job, and he couldn't do it. And so the Eagles, by trading away Darian Kinnard to the Green Bay Packers, are acquiring a 2027 sixth-round pick from the Packers in exchange for Darian Kinnard. And that is the trifecta. That is the third Eagles trade today, and the second one involving an offensive tackle. And with Darian Kinnard, what a wild start he is off to in his career. It's almost like he's on this Robert Ory trajectory. I joke, but he has been in the league for 3 years, and he's won 3 Super Bowls. 2 with Kansas City his first 2 years, and then last year with the Eagles. And now he's going to attempt to win 4 in a row with the Green Bay Packers, and obviously, hopefully that does not happen. So Howie Roseman, very busy today, making 3 trades on this Sunday, August 24th, going into roster cutdown day, which is Tuesday. All teams need to trim their rosters down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern. When that happens, we'll, of course, talk about it right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. In the meantime, it is 6:30 right now, Costa Rica time here in South America. It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go out, get some dinner, get a good sleep, and then tomorrow I'm going to ride some horses, ride some ATVs, rappel down some waterfalls, hopefully do some cliff jumping, go to the beach, eat some fresh fruit, and enjoy nature out here. The Eagles, Super Bowl 59 champs. Go Birds. Howie Roseman, what a gangster. 3 trades today. Recapping it here on Eagles Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.